space to the name.
Oh, that's my pen.
It's not coming today?
When did what the attorney was not back to them today?
In accordance with the state sunshine law, adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Hunterdon Democrat on May 25th, 2023. The notice is also posted in the board office, and a copy has been filed with the township clerk of East Amwell. All provisions of public law 1975, chapter 231 have been met. Flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Willard?
Yes.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. McGee? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yep.
And Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Okay. Now move on to motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay, and motion to, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion approved? Okay. Should we can, okay. Motion to approve items 2.2 and 2.3?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Take the minutes from April, two,
Yes.
One's April, one's March.
One's April and one's March.
okay, April items.
Okay. Okay. With the exception of his abstention, motion approved. Okay. Public comment. This is the portion of our meeting reserved for public comment pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12A, the Open Public Meetings Act. Members of the public are invited to address the board according to the board's policy and bylaws. Each participant shall be limited to 3-minute duration. Please be aware that this portion is your opportunity to comment and is not a forum for the board to respond to your comments. However, the board will certainly give all comments appropriate consideration. This has always been our policy, and we have chosen to adhere to it going forward. We do have an attorney here if you have any questions. Does anyone have any comments for the board?
Jason Bloom, Bridge Road. So at the last meeting, after the last meeting on April 16th, policy 168 was introduced, which is the policy that allows for video or audio recording of the meetings. At that time, President Miller stated, and I quote, "If anybody from the public wants to review that policy and comment back to the administration as they work on it, they are welcome to do so. Copies of that policy are available for reading and commenting back on. That same goes for the board members." On April 22nd, I emailed Ms. Guerra, Mr. Capuano, and Mr. Miller asking for a copy of that policy. I followed up again on April 26th. On April 29th, I received a reply from Ms. Guerra stating that they were waiting to hear from their attorney as to whether I could review the introduced policy or not. I have still not received an explanation why, if I haven't been provided a copy of the introduced policy 2 weeks after I asked for it. I saw that it was just put on the back table. Anybody want to comment why I have not received a reply back?
I'll comment. We just heard tonight that we were allowed to give you the policy. So that's why we brought it here. And we should have given it to you earlier, but we didn't hear from
weeks for your attorney to reply back to that question?
Yep.
Is this
This
our
is
board
one-
attorney?
This is one of our attorneys.
Okay, 2 weeks for my question, and tonight it just got back to us. We claim to be transparent. This is the exact opposite of that.
This has nothing to do with transparency. It has to do, we were waiting for a reply, and we didn't get a reply, so we didn't give it out till we heard back. Wasn't trying to deceive anyone or keep it from you.
So-
I think you know me pretty well, that I would give it to you if I were given permission.
I've been left hanging for a couple weeks, and Mr. Miller specifically said we would have access to that policy. Does he not know how the workings of the board are? Are you really not allowed to get that policy out before?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we sought advice from our attorney.
Okay. Thank you. And is there a copy of the budget that we can see before it's presented? That's not been made public either anywhere.
It was advertised in the paper.
In the paper?
User-friendly budget was advertised in the paper,
Which paper?
the Democrat.
Okay. Not on the website or anywhere else we can find it?
No, it's advertised in the paper.
Okay. Thank you.
Andrea Bonnet, also Ridge Road, but not related. I quickly was looking over this recording policy, and the almost last paragraph, I'm kind of puzzled. It says, all recording devices in any way must be battery operated or operational without the use of district electricity, as the district will not permit such equipment to be connected to the school district's electrical service. Is there anybody here that knows how that particular policy got in there and what the explanation for that is? And please speak up, because I really couldn't hear you. I'm trying.
We'll have to look into that and then exactly. I'll look into it.
I did hear it.
Sorry about that.
But nobody here has any explanation right now about why this got in the policy. I mean, I was a teacher for 35 years, I never heard of it. And the electricity that this equipment uses cannot possibly be a significant contributor to the school budget. Who wrote this? Did everybody write this, or can you tell me who wrote it? I mean, the whole policy. Who wrote the whole policy?
My guess is this probably came from your policy consultant, Strauss Esmes, and probably draft language. I suspect that our office probably reviewed it as well. Not me personally, but you might have reviewed it. But I also suspect that might be somewhat old language, but it's still, they keep that in the policy for years and years and years. So that's probably where it came from. It's probably something that has been long-term in policy or in the district uses Strauss Esmes for their policies. Probably has been in Strauss Esmes policies for a long time.
I hope you will consider removing it, because it's the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen in print for years. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Rick Wolf, 21 Ryderson Road, here in East Amwell Township. I know I keep harping on this, and I'm going to continue to harp on this, but the lack of transparency of this board is appalling, and every meeting I come to, it seems to get worse. Based on my quick glance of this policy tonight, I'm wondering whether the school is going to move forward with providing videotaping of its meetings, or the public's going to have to rely on concerned citizens like Jason to allow the public to see what's going on at these meetings. Mr. Capuano's excuse for not having this policy to Mr. Bloom much earlier, to me, is inexcusable. We had to wait 2 weeks to hear from our lawyer. That's not a legitimate reason for not delivering this. That's not legitimate at all. When I start putting all these things together, what I've been seeing at these meetings, this is intentional. You don't want the public to know what's going on. Putting the budget in the paper, not putting it on the website, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You don't want people to freely speak at these meetings. Mr. Miller claimed that Ms. Casper Bloom violated a HIPAA law. When I questioned him last week to show me which HIPAA law, no answer. I told him I'd continue to come back and ask him for an answer. He's not here tonight, which by the way to me is disgraceful. The attendance tonight is disgraceful when you're passing your budget. I come to these meetings, there's no public discussion. You guys just pass things. I have no doubt the Open Public Meetings Act is getting violated right and left. The Open Public Records Act is getting violated right and left. We're not being told the truth. Do I believe for a moment that 80% of this budget is dictated by the state and the board only has flexibility on 20%? No, I don't believe that for a moment. Am I going to back that up? Yeah, I'm going to delve into this budget. I'm not going to just get the user-friendly budget. I'm going to Oprah the entire budget. And if that doesn't give me enough, I'm going to Oprah all the records behind the budget. And if I don't get them within the 7 days, I'm going to take this board to court. And when I win in court, which I will, you'll have to pay my legal fees. This is disgraceful. And when I see Mr. Miller sitting there, who ran his campaign on transparency, saying nothing, when I see Paul Hutchins, who doesn't even show up tonight, ran a campaign on transparency, saying nothing, that's disgraceful. There's something wrong with this board, and it has to be fixed. This board has a budget 3 times or more the size of the municipal budget. That has to be entrusted to people who believe in transparency and who understand what they're doing. I have no reason to believe that this board understands what it's doing. This is just disgraceful. Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to the budget presentation.
Paige, going to put the slideshow up. When I talked briefly about budget and how it was put together. So of course we have December 10th, then we'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. After. Okay, so we worked extremely hard to put the budget together. We tried to maintain all of our programs, both extracurricular and our mainstream programs, and also to try to keep our costs down as efficiently as we possibly can. So some of our guiding priorities or goals when we were doing this is we wanted to maintain the academic supports programs to ensure student growth and provide early interventions. We also wanted to maintain all our special ed supports and additional programs that we have available to that population. We wanted to continue with our enhanced experiences, meaning our extracurricular activities, which include EATV, participate in share, band, chorus, and so forth. Also, we want to continue with our mental health supports, previously supported by our ESSER funding. ESSER funding came through COVID, and they have lapsed and run out this year. So we had to come up with additional funds for the mental health of our students, and we include that in our budget as well. We wanted to maintain our academic programs and services, including our full-day kindergarten, integrated preschool, and extended school year for a certain population we have. Our our early intervention, basic skills, and tutorial also remained in budget, or will remain in budget. We wanted, as a goal, to have no fee curricular and extracurricular activities. Paraprofessionals, also we wanted to maintain and also enhance our school security, and then also we wanted to maintain our current class sizes. Some of the highlights of everything that's in our curriculum: the Gifted and Talented program, both the junior grade books and Sparks remained in the program. Our tutorials program remains, our RTI basic skills instruction, our special education supports remain. Additional counseling available for all students. We worked very hard to keep that in the budget this year. No fee clubs and sports, and diverse range of extracurricular activities for all of our students. We have our integrated preschool program, which we've had for many years, and we continue with that. In addition, a no-cost full-day preschool for up to 60 resident students. This was our preschool expansion grant, and we're estimating that the students in that, their parents will be saving between directly $7,000 and $10,000 based on what we charged last year to that population. This year, there's 60 students, or 60 students, and their parents will be able to come for free. We want to continue to enhance our makerspace lab, and then all of our district-wide technology programs, Lincoln, Genesis, ST Math, Smart Ants, Achieve 3000, Learning A to Z will remain in the budget as well. Composition of the budget in the general fund, I'll just read this off. 44% of our budget goes to instruction, 4% student support, employee benefits, 21% of the budget goes to that. Facilities, 13%, capital projects, 25%, administration costs, 6.3%, and grants in our preschool, the costs associated with that is 10.4%. Anything I can highlight on that item? No? Okay. Everyone need to see that? Did I get too quick on that one, that slide? Good. Okay. Cost saving strategies that we continue to use. We're trying to keep, we have a very good special ed program, and we're trying to maintain, and this year currently we have all students remaining in district, and we're also looking to bring out of district students in from other school districts as a cost saving measure for our district. Our preschool expansion aid is a grant that we applied for this year. It's aid of $833,000, which was definitely an increase this year because we increased the 4 classrooms instead of 3. Also, our school choice program brings in $375,648. That's aid we received, and that's for the 24-25 budget. Shared services, we have our business administrator, speech therapists that are shared, our counselors, transportation, professional development, municipality, snow plowing, and cleaning. That's the shared agreement we have with the township. Membership in our Education Service Commission for discounted supplies that we purchase things from, state contracting prices. We also have discounted utility costs through participation in pieces. And that's all that's to give us a better rate. And also, we go through an insurance broker, which is the pooling of programs, and then we share that as well. State aid and tax levy regarding the general fund. So if you look at the bottom line, 24-25 school year, our tax levy this year is $8,442,047, of which the state provides us $969,490. So the state aid percent of the budget, they provide 9.1% of our operating budget to our school. Just so you know, the increase that we received from the 23-24 school year from $875,000 had to do strictly with special ed increase because we have a higher special ed population, and also our school choice program, we received additional funding for that as well. You can see, if you look at the top, earlier on 25 to 15 through 18, we received 10.1% of our budget, which was a little bit lower number as you look at right. And then we went down to 8, and then we're slowly creeping up. We're at 9.1%. So,
I wanted to
yes.
bring out there too, just because it's, the font is kind of small at the bottom, that doesn't include the preschool aid over the last year. Next year.
Thanks, Bill. So the tax impact. The total recommended operating budget is $10,908,066. So this amounts to a 2% increase in the tax levy, and we work extremely hard to keep it at 2% without cutting any programs to our students and staff members. So the average assessed home in East Amwell Township is $388,344. That house, the estimated annual increase will be $97, which amounts to $8.08. So if you double that, $700,000 home in East Amwell, which probably could happen, will be around $190 some a year, $60 per month approximately, for a house value of $70,000. Also, the user-friendly budget will be posted within 48 hours on our website for you to review. So we're open now for any questions that you may have, or any slides you want to go back and for us to discuss.
I just looked past the preschool,
Yes. Sure, how much money we receive?
Who pays for what?
Yeah, okay, so our preschool is totally funded by the state of New Jersey. And we receive,
For general ed.
for general ed, the dollar amount was $833,425. So what used to happen is we had a preschool here, and those parents paid about $700 per month for the course of 10 months. So now what happened was, joining the preschool grant expansion, the state is giving us those funds, and all of those students come for free. So the parents in our district, it has to be East Amwell students only, come to East Amwell for free. We're estimating we're not allowed to exceed 60 students this year. So those, again, those students come for free, and we receive funding for each of those. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I just, in regards to the state aid the school receives,
Yep.
does the state aid look at the number of choice students we have? Do they take that into consideration when they determine the aid to give us?
That's a separate pot of monies. That is
Okay.
included in that total, but it's broken out by transportation aid, by special education aid, school choice, and then, security.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll, during the superintendent's meeting part, I'll address, the school choice, and those numbers and such, because I know it's out there that the school was paying money for those, students, but that's not actually how it works. But I'll explain that. Just some figures with that. Any other questions? Any slides? Yes.
Yeah, I'm new to this, I plead ignorance, and I don't care. The $990-some thousand that the state's giving you for those preschool students,
Mhm.
how much of that is for that was a cost and is now free to the township? Did budget suffer in another area?
No. I can explain it better, but, we received more money, from those students coming to East Amwell.
The contribution from the state for the preschool helps, offset some of our costs. It actually saves the district money.
Is it counted as part of that $900-some
No,
thousand
it's a
dollars?
separate, so the preschool aid runs through a different fund in the budget, so all of that 833 is on top of that 900.
Okay, so the $10 million that's roughly for the budget that you've got is all for those slices of the pie,
Except for
education and things like that.
The preschool money, the slice that said preschool and grants is on top of that $10 million, that sits in a different fund.
Okay, so that might end up being like 1.2 or 3 rather than 900 and something.
Yes, there's other grants included in that, there's title money, there's IDA money, there's other grants.
The other thing that I did not see in there, and I suspect might become an issue, is a line item for legal fees or defense of whatever. Is that a different pot?
The legal
Or does
fee-
that come out of the education budget?
It comes out of the administrative budget, so legal fees, our audit, our policy manual, all of that is included in the, is included in the administrative slice.
Okay,
So
and,
the 6.3%, that's, you see right there, that
Yeah.
includes,
okay,
legal fees and so forth.
but is that administration amount, and I'm not gonna be trying to do the math, is there, have you factored in potential litigation given the airings of the last few months and things like that, or is that static? Has that gone up?
It's gone up a little bit.
It's gone up, and if you exceed that,
That number.
percentage, that number, what does that do? Does that get added on to the
We
taxpayers?
can't, we have to take it from somewhere else in the budget.
Ah,
We can't, once the budget's approved and it's sent to the state and it's sent to the township,
uh-huh,
we can't increase tax levy at all.
okay. So if you spend your money on litigation and lawyers and defending things, then that money, if it's not covered in that 6.3, is going to have to come from, can't come from benefits, cause that's the state, can't come facilities, cause the building's here. Essentially it's gonna come from instruction, or primarily would come from instruction.
We would have to
And
look
you have
at
to
it.
look at it and figure out where we would have funds for that.
Okay, so it wouldn't come out of an insurance policy, cause I know when the township's been sued, the township's insurance has been the one whose pockets were eventually dipped into.
It would depend on the case,
Okay.
whether there's a deductible or it's just a fix.
Is litigation an ongoing theme, or you, in the town school education, board of education, or do you get bumper years where things pop up? You know, is there lawsuits every year, or just every 10
Yeah, I
years?
don't think there's
20?
lawsuits every, but we are in contact with our attorney on a number of issues.
Okay. So the history, the legal history is that how much money came out of the school pocket and went into, like, your Ty's pocket, is something that is discoverable through Oprah or a review or things like that. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nothing's free.
Okay, thank you very much. Preschool expansion, which I spoke about in our budget. Currently, we're in the application phase. We're reaching out to a number of parents. We're still waiting for them to register. But our preschool class is filling up pretty quickly. And we're probably gonna run a little bit more with our kindergarten classes. We're probably gonna have an intro day and so forth because we are expanding a great deal of that program. Our chiller, which I've been speaking about, is finally on order. This has like an 18-week lead time, and that is gonna probably be installed in the November timeframe. So we'll be able to go off that, as well as the contractor has been out to inspect the facility and the area that we're working with as well. Sustainable grant, this is because of the work of our green team and Sharon Ernst. We had a meeting last week, and Quick is coming together. A lot of weeding, a lot of new plants that they're putting there already. The Century Walk is being planned out, as well as the art area and the weather station, which will be utilized for our middle school science program, as well as our elementary. Two different types of systems out there is what the plan is currently. The board wanted me to respond to some questions that were asked last week regarding a number of things. I don't hear you back there.
Not well.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. So test scores were brought up last week, so the administrative team and I went back to look at it when the presentation was given in November or December timeframe. And as a school, comparing it to our semi-district and district factor group in the language arts and math area, we are doing as well, if not better, than many of the schools around. I'm happy to say that. And I did have a meeting or two with a few parents to share that information with them. So we are doing well, despite what some people may be saying. Particularly proud of our students and also our teachers for the exceptional job that they do. Please keep in mind that East Amwell is just not a place regarding test scores and so forth. There are so many things that we teach. It's the whole child, the activities, the drama production, to the activities that involve students that are in chess club or our fourth grade programs. It's just an outstanding place to learn and grow, and I think everyone that works here, comes here, is very proud of what we do, and I'm particularly proud not only of our test scores, but also of how our students do. It was brought up last month, the long-range facility plan, which was shared with a few people. So I just want to clarify some things. The long-range facility plan is tied to our capital reserve, and it was brought up that we were going to spend $200,000 to repair our current parking lot. That was not correct. On our long-range facility plan, the $200,000 was for a new parking lot. And if you've been here during our Halloween activities or any of our night activities or during pickup, parents are parking all over the facility. We also have to remind parents not to park on the neighbor's yard across the street because his yard has been damaged. So that is to plan for a new park. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just in the works. It's not to fill cracks. It's not to repair our park lot. It was correctly stated that it is in pretty good shape. Hopefully that remains that way for a number of years. Also, I believe there's something about playgrounds. And our playgrounds are probably 25 to 30 years old. So we have to have them inspected every year. They're probably in pretty good shape now, but that is part of our long-range plan. But I know we have to redo it soon, and the estimate there is like $50,000. $50,000 is nowhere near enough for a new playground if we do need that in the future. Capital reserve. Capital reserve, if you don't know, basically is money that was unexpended at the end of each year, and this money, because we've been fiscally conservative, is used for future projects. So we're planning for the future in case something happens. So we have currently right now, it was a little bit higher at the beginning of the year, we have $1.6 million in our capital reserve. And that seems like a lot of money. It was brought up a number of neighboring schools and how much money they have. So I went and did a little research with Heidi's help. And one of the schools we'll mention I think it was stated that they had 8% of their budget
and they had $8 million. Well, they had $8 million and they have 6 schools. You divide it by the amount of schools, it's around 1.3 million per school. So we're right in that range, and Heidi did a little bit more research. There's other schools that have a little bit more money than we do, and that's great on their part. Part of our, since the two are tied together, capital reserve and long range facility plan, we have 7 septic fields right now. And part of this plan is to replace the septic field if any of those go bad. And the estimate there is between 200 and 500,000 that we have in our long range plan. And also we have money in our capital reserve right now to handle that if anything were to happen like that. School choice. I know it was brought up that, and it was even in the VIP stating that school choice, that our school is actually paying for these students to come to our school. Basically, we receive for the 24-25 budget, $375,648 for the school choice students to come here. And we have 24 students, that's 24, right? 24 students that come to East Amwell. And when you look at the students, this is the way you have to look at it. If we were to remove them, it's not going to impact our classes. We're not going to lose a teacher because those students are spread out from our K to 8th grade classes. So we may have 2 in 2nd grade, 3 in 3rd grade, 1 in 4th grade, and I'm making up those numbers. So if we were to remove those students, we would still have the same amount of teachers, but we wouldn't receive the $375,000. So that's approximately around 4% to our tax levy. So we would have to come up with that money because we've had school choice for so long. That's how it works. It's not that we're providing extra money. So if we have a class of 16, now that class may have 17. The class is still going on. There may be, a few books that we have to buy and so forth, but it does bring a substantial amount of resources to our district. Property survey, I'm moving on from those. Property survey was complete, we're just waiting for final drawings. That was started about a month and a half ago. So we're hopefully gonna get the drawings soon. Pretty excited later this week, we have our Meet the Principal night, which is on May 9th. It's right before the PTO meeting. We tried to do it before the event because there will be some people here, and it sounds like we're gonna have a decent crowd. So that's gonna be at 6:30, so Mr. Love won't be here. It'll be more of a meet and greet. I'll give a brief speech, he will, and then we're gonna go around and introduce him to a number of our parents. He's also gonna be here a number of days to work with Mrs. Dolan, and he's also planning on coming to our field day because there's a lot of parents that show up on that day as well. So it'll be a great time for everyone to meet him. In addition, we have our senior bingo, and I'm announcing these things because there's a lot of good things that go on here on 5/16, which basically bring the seniors in, to have breakfast, to play bingo, there's prizes, and they'll meet with a number of our students during that time. It's always a great activity. June 17th is our graduation date at 6 o'clock. It's a Monday. And then also today we're very excited. Hopefully you got the email. We rolled out Instagram because we're trying another way to communicate with the public. In the past we've had X, and but X doesn't work with our current website. Instagram does. So we're switching to Instagram this way. We're taking pictures. They'll be scrolling on our website, and we'll be able to share the great things that are going on with it with our students and staff. Any questions?
Question. So with the preschool, one thing I'm thinking about with the increase in the number of students is just kind of parking and morning drop-off.
We're trying to figure that out. If you've been here during when drop-off, currently right now, the buses come in around 8:40, and preschool parents are not supposed to show up till 8:50. So we're trying to have the buses clear out and then have the preschool students drop off. Inevitably, what happens is parents come a little bit early and there is a little bit of congestion, so we're still trying to figure that out. We may have to stagger it a little bit more because there is not a whole lot of parking down in that area. And typically with the preschool parents, you're parking and you're walking the students to the side door for the teachers to greet them.
I will share, there was an email that went out.
With Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you still get back?
I think that's not that, and it seems better today.
Okay, good,
So,
good to hear. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay. Jason, want to take budget and finance?
yes. Budget and finance, motion to approve. I can go down the whole,
We can go down.
I can do 8-1, motion to approve 8-1 to 8-7.
So moved. Second.
We need roll call for that one.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Allen? Yes. Ms. Willard?
Yes.
And Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Carol, you want to take those and friends, McGee?
Yes, motion to approve 9.2 for Mascios Police Service, we are a food management company. And 9.3 for the facility use applications.
I do have a question about 9.2, but it's more of a question because I don't know where it goes, and I'm just thinking of this now. With the, I mean, it doesn't really have to do with the food services, but with the cafeteria, I know the younger students, my kids, other kids included, they can pretty much order however many snacks they want. So I don't,
Yeah, not anymore.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, it's not, okay, it's,
Yeah, they can only get one.
all right, good.
And there's something I believe was put on the menu.
Danielle's working on that, I believe that something is sent to the lower grades to the teachers.
Okay,
Yeah, cool.
nice.
Okay, so. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Allen? Yes. Ms. Willard?
Yes.
And Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Okay. Carol?
Yes, curriculum, okay, 10.1 is a motion to acknowledge, 10.2 an FYI, and 10.3 a motion to accept, so there's not technically any motions to approve.
No. We would just FYI. Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Nothing in negotiations and grievances. Jane Carroll, personnel and policy.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold on 12.3 because that's the motion to approve the recording of board meetings, so there'll be time for some discussion. So I'll start with motion to approve 12.1, then 12.2 is a first reading. And then 12.4 through 12.9, I believe are all motions to approve.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Okay, now, 12.3.
So 12.3 is a motion to approve the policy P0168, the recording of board meetings, which was revised, and you all have that in front of you, but I didn't know if you wanted to speak about it, or if you wanted any discussion.
I think there's still room for discussion. I mean, we heard some commentary tonight, in regards to some suggested changes, and, frankly, I don't think this is so much of a transparency issue, as much as I feel that it's more of a, security and comfort issue, meaning that, in these events where members of the public.
I'm sorry, can you have the mic or speak up, Mr. Miller? It's hard to hear.
Sure.
Thank you. Just turn that way.
This thing is really loud.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
You okay?
Yeah.
So as I said, I don't feel this is as much of a transparency issue as I feel it's more of a safety and security, issue. Thanks, Sean. That, the names of children, minors in this case, and parents and even teachers can be brought up really unannounced. And I know when I was at the township, there was a requirement that the people who were gonna be brought up during a meeting had to be notified ahead of time, which at least gave them an opportunity to come back and say something, in their defense. And, in this case, I certainly haven't seen an advantage. We seem to be very worried about costs these days. I'm seeing a lot of that, from the public about the cost of everything. And here we're adding cost for an activity that seems to have little value. We're even hearing that, there's not a lot of transparency here during the meeting. So I'm not sure what we're getting for setting up a broadcast and paying for a broadcast of, what people don't think is enough content. So I'm not sure that, that this policy as is ready for, for approval. But that's just my sense.
Other people, thoughts?
Sure. And I don't know, maybe I'm loud enough to speak without the microphone.
You might be.
But I don't know, I think the cost is minimal. I don't remember exactly what the number was. I don't think it's,
We've got it.
what was it?
We've got it. Yeah.
Per year.
3,600 per year. So I don't think that's, that should be the deciding factor. I understand we want to keep the budget low. I think transparency, if it creates more transparency, well, not that it's going to create more transparency, but makes it easier for parents who aren't able to attend, to get information from the meetings more quickly. My one concern is, while this would create a convenience for parents, we need to protect the rights of students. And I'm looking specifically like at the bottom of page 1, and I feel like that would protect us, in the event a parent came and said something about a student, called out a child's name, in a negative way. I think that would cover it.
Only if they could say, you can probably speak this, but, okay, we're only allowed redacted if there's something oversaid. So if someone comes up and speaks about a child and just says, something about a child, we're probably not going to be able to redact that. So we're going to have to address that on a case-by-case basis. Only if something were brought up that violates, this child's rights or a staff member's rights, we would redact it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then I know somebody brought up the battery operated equipment, and I don't know, I read through it before. I don't know, I still don't see an issue with it because I think all, pretty much we have cell phones. I'm sure the iPad is not plugged in right now. It's just sort of everything's battery operated, and I doubt it would happen, but we also don't want people running cords all over.
I think that's probably the issue with that
So I think
paragraph
that's-
is people running extension cords and, big lighting and that kind of stuff.
I thought it was more about the additional lighting. But I read it, but I can see where if you read
A time when lighting was an issue.
Yeah.
That's not an issue.
We
Okay.
can just do something with that paragraph, for sure. I don't think it's the cost of the electricity, I think it's more extension cords running through and causing a hazard for someone and access. I think that's more of the issue.
And then these recordings, once the minutes are posted, the recordings go away. All right.
45 days or 47 longer.
Okay.
Well, I'm okay with the policy, I am concerned about someone coming up and saying something about a student or a teacher. I think that is my concern as well. And I don't know if we can phrase or put verbiage into the policy, Vic, to say something regarding that. I think that would be my concern. Thank you for bringing that up, Pete. I agree with transparency, but I also believe in protecting the students. So I would like something, if we can put something in like that. You know, maybe we can just bleep out a student's name or a teacher's name. I don't know. I'm not totally, educated on how we can do this. So that's just my opinion, but I do believe in transparency. So,
I just asked a question about, what you said, Jason, that once the meeting minutes become available, it goes away?
The recording would be posted until 45 days where the minutes are posted, whichever's longer, then it would come down off the website.
But, Kim, just with that last paragraph on page 1 though, I think that protects, like, if a student's rights, if we thought a student's rights were violated or.
I don't think it's even that their rights are violated though. I don't want anyone speaking about my child in public.
Yeah.
If it was my child, my children are old now and they're adults, so.
I think you could put in some language that generally discourages those comments and specifically state, so that, for example, what you read before for public comment, a lot of boards will say things as well, saying like, we discourage any comments about students or staff members because of the legal rights that they have. If you get up here and speak, just know that there's no immunity. If you say something that's defamatory, those people could turn around and sue you. Has it happened? I don't know. And you can put something in the policy indicating that, we discourage comments about students and we'll remind, individuals. But we can't, I would say we can't tell people, you can't comment about students or you can't comment about staff members. They can, at their own peril, if they say things that are problematic. So we could
say a
we put
student
something in.
said a faculty member.
That would be the
That's
preference.
what I would prefer. I'm not sure how you do that, but that's what I would prefer. I would be very upset if someone spoke about my child in any way.
I'm sorry, finish.
That's my 2 cents or 10 cents or whatever you want to. And I don't know, you guys are parents. I don't know how people feel about their children's.
I'm just also wondering if it would be possible to, when we ask for public comment, to just throw that in each meeting.
I would.
Right, is that what you're, okay.
Yep.
That's what,
Maybe
I just wanted to make sure that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key, right? So if we can redact that name, then that's good, right? If we can't, then we have a liability of some sort. I don't know what.
We
it is.
could
Well,
have a liability.
I would say not you, not the board, the person who says it might have an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think if we say it at every meeting, we discourage comments about students, please be careful what you say, who you name, so forth and so on, and about staff members too. If someone goes ahead and says something, totally inappropriate about a student or whatever, that could be a legal issue for them. If someone came to us and said, well, you let that happen, we can't gavel people down for that
Can
reason.
we put the disclaimer out there?
Right in the beginning. Right. If someone is saying, in accordance with your policy on public comment, if people are saying vulgar or obscene things, we can stop that.
Yeah.
Well,
And it would have to get to a certain point, I think. But generally speaking, people have First Amendment right in a public forum to say certain things. If they say things that get them in trouble, that's not our fault, that's their fault.
I have one additional question then too. And I'm thinking from my school perspective, we have to get from the school I work with, we have to get permission slip to mention a kid's name in a newspaper, to put a kid's photo in a newspaper, to mention a kid in any sort of forum or to post their picture.
Right.
So what if we have a student, I don't know if we do this here at Amwell. We do. So what if we have a student that's on that list and someone comes up here and says that? A parent could, I don't know, you tell me where that puts us legally.
No, for us, as long as, if we're information out, and we have permission
Can't say
for it,
this.
that's fine. If someone gets up and says something, I mean, I'm just gonna use an example. Someone comes up to the podium and says, I wanna complain about something that happened last week with my son and this kid, Johnny, or whatever. And Johnny did this and Johnny did that. We would say, well, you know, number one, just be careful what you say up here, there's no immunity. You know, we would encourage you to refrain from using student names, and also always try to address that at the building level first before it comes to the board, right? It's kind of a chain of command thing, but we can't otherwise say, we can't talk about that. We won't respond to it, we won't say, we're not gonna say, well, by the way, we also impose this kind of discipline on Johnny, that's not gonna happen. That would be violating that kid's rights. But individuals who come up can say those things. If they say things that are inappropriate, Johnny's parents may have something to say about that, and, you know, they do that at their own risk.
All right, I may be getting really too specific here. But what if there's a custody situation where one parent doesn't know the child's even at the school and things shouldn't even be mentioned, and it's supposed to be a very private sort of situation, and the kid is just mentioned because he's a great kid and they're saying something that's not derogatory, but now this is going on public record that Johnny so-and-so attends this school.
Yeah, if someone comes up and says, I mean, again, nothing that we can do about that if they come up and say that, but.
But now you just put this child
But
at
that
risk.
may be an issue, you know, that may be one of the reasons why.
I'm just saying.
Talk about redaction or how long you
Okay.
have those things up.
Okay, so that's something where we would have a right to redact a name.
We'd have to look at that. I haven't seen that happen very often, but,
Happens.
yeah, in terms of the redaction fees. I mean, have I
Okay.
seen people get up and make comments? Sure.
Well, I
But,
mean,
you know, in
that's,
terms of the
those are
redaction.
real issues sometimes,
Yep.
so.
Ask a question? Can I ask a question? Sorry, I came in late, so whether you've already talked about. So you're talking about posting a recording after the meeting's
Oh,
over as opposed to
you gotta
live?
tell us who you are.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Alison Castellano,
Okay,
Ringo's resident. So you're talking about posting a recording after the meeting's over versus not live streaming, right?
that is correct.
Yeah? So how soon after is the recording planned to be posted? Do we know? Oh, we don't know right now.
So within probably 48 hours, I don't know.
So you have potential time that you could
Yeah.
bleep out names or take, take things out, right? I mean, potentially, whoever's
Potentially, yes.
managing that, yeah, okay, cool, thank you.
And then just another question for you, like if, in terms of what you're saying about the public comment, that's not something that would impact this policy, but that would impact our public comment. And I don't know if that's,
Correct.
I don't know if that's a policy or that's just
Yeah,
something we
yeah,
have to
policy.
look at.
That might be a bylaw actually, but, this is technically a bylaw also, that'd be the same kind of thing. Yep.
So the change to the policy would be that we would make that announcement in advance of the.
Public.
Yeah.
The public
So it's
recognition.
yeah.
You could do that, yes.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Vic, could you help us wordsmith that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
This is your first read or second read?
Second, this is.
So we'll need to have it right there. I'll write it down exactly. So we'll add here, at the end is to the redaction piece, the board shall remind the public before each public session that it discourages comments about students and staff for privacy reasons. All right? All right, so that's what I would.
I apologize, I'm gonna take your hand, I should not have acknowledged a analysis question, we should bring public comment, but go ahead.
Can I make a request to table this to the next meeting? If we're holding true to making the public known what's going on, we just got this. It doesn't seem like we're quite ready with the feedback back and forth for a vote. I would request to table it for next time. And we're also missing 4 of the 9 board members.
So that's something that a board member would do?
Yeah,
If the board member wants to table it, you can do that and vote on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, we just got this, which I think the public would like to see.
I mean, I see the point on possibly tabling it because we
I
have
think-
light attendance today, but I don't think this is the public's
Yeah,
decision, like we're
I
talking
think
to the
honestly,
residents on it.
I think we wanna talk about, we're changing this additional lighting anyway and having the policy, changing that piece of it. So that would be something that we would decide, and I think it's something we probably would do, but, what do you think, are we,
Since
You know, I'd like to hear what everyone has to say
Okay.
as well.
That's fine.
I've seen several people tonight, I would agree.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, so it was moved and seconded, so now we just need a motion to table it until the next meeting. Second that, and then take a vote on it.
We didn't move it.
Oh, you didn't move it?
No,
Oh, sorry, I thought,
stepped out.
okay, I understand. All right, so now, so actually, then you don't have to do anything, because since you didn't move it, you're just not gonna move it.
Okay,
And we will
perfect.
address it at the next meeting.
I did wanna mention something else for discussion now with this too. We're tabling it for the next meeting. Having something in here, for like when it would be posted, like posted within 48 hours. It's not nothing new, right?
I don't know the specific.
So I don't know, I think that would be something good to add in, just, you know, so that there isn't like a delay in it getting posted.
Well, and no perception.
Yes, yes.
The time that it takes to do the review, you know, if no student's name comes up, no teacher's name comes up, it could get out in the next, 2 hours. But if it does, then it's gonna take up to 40.
Well, I think it should be a trial and error situation too, we don't know how long it's gonna take to get it out there
Yes,
first.
so you're just giving yourself some wording to look at.
Okay, motion, do we need to vote motion, we don't need to
No,
vote table
yeah,
it because
you
we didn't bring
you
it
can
up,
move it, yeah.
so that's fine. Great. Okay, now we're gonna move on for now. Okay, oh. We have any older new business? New? Okay. Public recognition, this is the portion of our meeting reserved for second public comment pursuant to the same Open Public Meetings Act. Members of the public are invited to address the board according to the board's policy and bylaws. Each participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. Please be aware that this portion is your opportunity to comment and is not a forum for the board to respond to your comments. However, the board will certainly give all comments appropriate consideration. Any comments?
Andrea Burnett again. I just have a quick question. Having been a teacher in the public school system in Princeton for 35 years, I was never aware of a student's name being mentioned, but I'm sure that obviously it must have happened sometime during 35 years. But my question is, does that happen often here? I mean, all these years, some of you, well, I wish Charles Miller was here because he's been in lots of board meetings. But does it happen often that people mention students' names?
I don't know, I'm just trying to cover all bases.
Well, I understand, it's a hypothetical, then it's not really based on negative experience. Okay, thanks.
Rick Wolf, 21 Right Earson Road, here in East Amwell. I suppose if Pete Miller were around before they invented the wheel, Pete would have stood up and said, no wheels, because someday it'll lead to cars and people get into accidents, we don't need wheels. That's what I'm hearing tonight. I suspect it rarely, if ever, happens that a child's name is mentioned, and as your attorney said, you can preface the open to the public by warning people against that. And I think residents would honor that. No one's looking to come in here and attack children. So I really don't think that's a problem, it's an excuse. It's just a way you try to avoid the transparency. Let's create a parade of horribles so we don't have to be transparent. But let me address a couple of other points that Pete made. He said when he was on the township committee, people had notice, employees had notice if they were going to be talked about. That is true. They have what's called a rice notice. And if the board, the township committee, were going to discuss an employee, we had to give the employee notice of that and the right to attend. That did not apply if the public wanted to get up and speak about an employee. So the notion that somehow there's a difference here versus the township, that's just not right. Second, the concern about staff members being discussed. Staff members can be discussed at a public meeting. You were on the township committee. We had residents come in and complain about staff members. There's nothing wrong with that. If a resident believes that a staff member isn't doing their job, what is the problem with the resident coming in and saying, I believe the staff member is not doing their job? In fact, as a member of the township committee, I'd like to know that. So that's just an argument in favor of transparency. What cracked me up the most, though, was, you good one. Video recording would have little value because we don't do much at these meetings, so why should we show the residents that we don't do much? That's just nonsensical. I can't believe you could say that with a straight face. First of all, I'd love for the residents to see how little you do and how little some of you attend. Plus, the residents would get to see the comments that members of the public are making. And I honestly don't care whether the video is live streamed or not. I don't think the value is in live streaming. I don't think people have to see it real time. I think it just has to be made available so that they can watch it when they want to watch it. So we don't have to go down the road of live streaming or not having the ability to redact because you're live streaming. Don't live stream. Just video it and post it. The same way Jason does. He videos and he posts it. He's not live streaming it. So these arguments against transparency, they hold no weight, and some of them, quite frankly, are nonsensical. Thank you.
When you're looking at your policy again and things like that, I'm trying to think about you're educating little humans to be appropriately human when they become full-size adults. And if the college campuses and some of the riots here, there, and wherever are any indication, free speech aside, I think that there has been some degradation culturally as a society in terms of, you know, the basic little mores you teach your little preschoolers in early grades. Be nice, listen, be kind. I hear a lot of be kind these days. And a lot of what I hear are personal attacks or nastiness that I think the individuals attacked or nasty have no issue with. But if their children were watching it on TV, they might feel bad about, you know, I don't know, Jason, how your kids would feel if you're attacked personally, and or their friends say, boy, your father is real, you know. That is a form of abuse because of the people who even after being on township committees, it seems to be something that never goes away. I would ask that if you're going to have a policy, then you have at least some sort of a statement too about appropriate use of the public's, you know, be polite, be kind, do not be derogatory. Put it on a sign and put it out front so that when it's videotaped, there's a visual reminder, just like you have stuff all up and down these hallways. There's no need to be mean. I think you're all doing a public service and you're trying to do the best for your kids and the community, and I don't think it's not like the national budget. And I hope this doesn't devolve into Congress and things like that. But be nice, be kind, and use the videotape. And I'm a videotape person, but you know, you don't put it out there unless it's nasty. I think you're good people. I think you're doing a decent job. Are there things that could be done differently or to enhance understanding? Yes, and that's usually something that can be achieved through one-on-one discussion and debate with the people that are administering it. And I haven't seen any indication, and call me naive, I don't know. I don't see any ironclad, Putin-esque resolution of Mr. Capuano or any of the members to keep things secret. I think it's just you're managing it the best you can, and there's a whole lot of hoops you have to hop through. So, good job, Jason, Heidi. You know, can things be better? Yeah. Will things be better? Yeah, if we all grow up and act like adults. And if I've acted inappropriately, I'm sure I have at times, I apologize. That's another thing you teach your little people. Thank you.
Jason Bloom again, Ridge Road. I appreciate the discussions over this tonight. I just, this policy mentions nothing of the possibility of video recording. The last multiple meetings, it was discussed that the policy would have the option for both. It's not mentioned in here at all, it's just strictly audio. Is there a reason for that changing all of a sudden? I mean, it's always been a talk of a policy that could involve video, could involve audio, could involve both. Now, this policy is strictly audio recording. And, I mean, from my perspective, I feel that's why I just got it right now. If I would have gotten it earlier, I would have picked up on that. It was, I don't know if there was intent there but it was never discussed as just a strictly audio only policy. It was back and forth between both. I mean, I've recorded the last few meetings, as we brought up multiple times. It was never just strictly audio. This is only audio. No even possibility for video in the future.
Yeah, discussed audio versus video last time, and we were having a conversation.
Yeah, and it was moved that we would go to audio, and then, you know, I'll address your comment again. There was no deceit to try to,
There's no deceit to try to keep this from you. I know that's the way you feel. That wasn't the intent.
John, you never make it easy for yourself. You kind of followed up with an email.
Because Heidi was taking care of it. You could have called me directly too.
If
you would have called me directly, well, you and I would have sat down.
Why
and
do
you
I
and I
have
would
to
have a
call
conversation.
you? I've emailed you twice for a follow-up.
And she followed up with you. And
I
we're
would
waiting for
never
her turn.
expect it would
I would
take
love,
that
I would
long
love to
for
sit
me.
down with you and talk about it.
I'm talking
Anytime,
right now.
I'm not gonna talk in public, you know, when you want your specific questions addressed. I will address your question. We can sit down one-on-one and talk about it. It was addressed as audio.
Because you want it between you and I with your door closed in your
No,
office.
not at all. If you wanna ask a question,
I
we
just
can do
did.
that, but no, you're talking about debating with me in public. I don't wanna debate with you in public.
You guys make
Because
it
that's not
so
how
hard
we're
for
supposed to
yourself.
operate.
It's always a battle.
What's that?
It's always a battle. It's in 2
not
weeks,
about-
John.
It's
Your
not about-
board president said that we had access to this policy.
And we checked with our attorney, we just found out tonight. And I told
So
him,
he doesn't know really what you can do and can't do.
he didn't get back to us till tonight. And I explained that to you.
No, no.
I explained to her already tonight, I did. I said he got back to us
It's
tonight.
just quite a coincidence that there's no
Okay.
video mentioning this at all, and it was just given to us tonight. Just from my perspective, and we
Okay.
still haven't talked about why there's not the video option. We're going audio, why can't we record the meeting with video? Nobody has really justified why one over the other. If you're doing one, I think the public has said either don't do it or video. Audio's not gonna be the way to go. Everybody said that. Not one person's come up and said, let's just do audio. So are you listening to what people want? Not just me. There's been multiple people that have spoke about this. Look back, I've recorded, they're all on Facebook. Nobody said,
And I think at the
just
last
want
meeting, it
audio.
was discussed that we would do audio, and the board was moving forward with audio.
But the policy was supposed to have both. With
And
that
the
possibility
policy,
to do.
the policy was changed to audio. That's what it was.
That could have been informed to me ahead of time. You could have given me a heads up. Just you make it so hard for yourself. You just do. Still don't know why just audio. Nobody's answered that. Not once. I've asked them multiple times. Why just audio over video? Wasn't the cost. I don't know why. Does the attorney want to chime in on why audio over video, or just don't do it? I don't, nobody's answered it. It's been 4 or 5 meetings now. I mean, 4 of us aren't even here tonight to discuss it, but the 5 that are. No comment.
Yes.
Andrew, for that last time, I think people that know me know I'm pretty honest, and my memory may be a little flaky, but I tend to not make up things that didn't happen. Years ago, a member of this school board said to me, he did not want, they did not want, sorry, anything to be recorded or in the public as much as possible, because the board might do something the public wouldn't like, and then they would find out about it. I swear to God that somebody said that to me. So I think that pretty much sums up, it hasn't changed.
Does anyone else have a comment? Anyone who hasn't spoken yet, like to speak? Executive session. Move to adjourn the meeting?